Hi everyone, it's Elaine, and today I wanted to show you why is it not okay to purchase really cheap watercolors versus medium priced and very high priced watercolors. So I'm going to start with the cheaper ones, and I got these at your local dollar store. If you might have a Poundland. I've never tried them. This is my first time opening these. Whenever you purchase watercolors, they tell you to purchase tubes because they're the highest quality. So we'll see how these line up with my highest quality tubes, or my Winsor Newton. So we're gonna go with that. I kind of got rid of all of my really cheap supplies. Also, we're gonna try this type of watercolor. Now this is really popular. This type of watercolor is really popular. It's like a pill that has color in it. And I'm not exactly sure how they process these, but it feels like it might have even talc. I mean, it's powdery. So whenever you have something that's that powdery, once the paint dries, it might have that effect of, like, if you rub your finger over top of it, it might have a super powdery finish and it might run off. Again, I got this at the local Dollar Tree. If you go to Poundland, Dollar General, I'm sure that they'll have that there. And this is a pan set. And the reason why I chose these three different ones is because I do have these three different kinds and better quality than the $1 would bring. I mean, this even brings this weird funky brush, which I don't think I'll use ever. So in order to compare them, I have this one, which is watercolor wheel stack pack, and it's really opaque. It's from I believe it's from Koh-I-Noor. I really don't know. Oh no, yeah, Koh-I-Noor. And I use it for calligraphy. It's very opaque, and as you can see, there's a huge difference in vibrancy when it comes to the colors, because obviously this is a different quality in paint. And then you have this, which just looks like a toy. Now my last pan set like this that I had was a Yarka. So the closest thing to this would be this. And these are my my Nevskaya Palitra watercolors from Russia. And I also have a smaller pan set, which is this is my most expensive. This is around $300, and it's Schminke. And I have a couple of colors there from another brand, which are these two. But these are my Schminke. They're very expensive, very toxic. Do not buy this for a child, because if they drink the watercolor water, they will go blind. It has nickel in it. I make a point in making my watercolor water, the dish in which I put the watercolor water, make it look either really unappealing or very different from the cup that I'm drinking. So this is like a dish, like a Corningware dish that I basically turned into a watercolor water cup. So let's get started. First off, I start with the cheap ones, with the affordable ones. I've seen a lot of videos of people going, well, how to buy watercolors and how to buy paints when you're broke. I think if you can get them on sale, if you can get high quality ones on sale, go do that. If you have a coupon or anything like that, by all means use it and buy them in sets, because they're cheaper in sets. Now this paper is Canvas Kansen Watercolor XL. This is recycled paper, but it's really high quality pulp. And it is cold press, 140 pounds, I believe. Yeah, 300 GSM. So this is the cheapest paper I use. This pad has 30 sheets for $5.88, and I always buy it on sale. So this is the cheapest paper I will buy. There are cheaper pads. I won't even look at them. And I'm going to see if I can get that effect right now. So we're going to use, let's get a plate. I just get a little plate like this, and then I just squeeze a little bit of the contents out. I can't even get some of this stuff out. Okay, so it has a lot of body for being watercolor. It feels more or less like wash. And this is not a good blue. This feels like cerulean blue. I like my blues a little deeper. Like this would be a good blue to start with your primary. This is like ultramarine, whereas this would be more or less cobalt. So, but let's play with these for now. And these are Winsor. These are Winsor Newton. So these are this one. So let's compare. First, we're gonna do the cheapy ones, and I don't use these brushes. So I'm gonna use the cheapest brush I own, and it's not cheap still. This is like a $6 brush. Okay, so I just made a little green here, and I feel like it's not getting wet enough for me. Like this paint is really dry for it's just not like getting wet for me. But anyway, so this is the spread. Like the first thing I do is I spread it, and it's so transparent. Like this is I think a fluke. It shouldn't even be like that. It's super transparent. I'm trying to build up layers to make it look like that color. It's just not happening. Now, because I have the brush super loaded, it did it. Here's my Winsor & Newton, and I'm gonna put some water on my yellow and really get it nice and juicy. And I'm gonna put some right here in the corner. And my blue, and I think this is an ultramarine blue. I don't remember. So I put it together. I don't know if you can see everything because I'm like too high up, but there it is. That's what I heard last night, that explosion. Okay, so here's Winsor & Newton. And as you can see, it's very dark. Even though it has transparency, it is very dark. So if I wanted to make that a little brighter, I just have to put it back on the yellow and go back. And that's kind of what the color I wanted. And as you can see, it only took one stroke. I didn't have to play with more paint. It's almost like this paint has too many fillers, and that's why it's so cheap, because the ratio of fillers to pigment is real high. The fillers are real high, the pigment is real low. Just wouldn't use it. So there's that. I'm gonna wash this really well. Now, like I said, the pan set that I had that kind of resembled this one was a Yarka, and I don't have Yarkas. So I'm looking at these, and as you can see, as they dry, these, you can see the pooling of the color separate. You can see the pigment and the filler separating, whereas this is an even color. This is Arches cold press sheet. I want to see if I can get so you guys can see the grain on the paper. This comes in a parent sheet, so it's 24 by or 28 by something. It's really big, and you pay a lot of money for one sheet, but you can cut it, and it's really hard. GSM, it would be 600 GSM. It's very thick. It's like cardboard. Let me just show you how this grain would look. The grain that I made earlier. So I'm gonna double check that I'm nice and clean. Dip it in the paint and go back. And as you can see, this is rough grain. I'm sorry, I thought it was a cold press, but this is really rough grain. And as you can see, it has a lot of character. You can see a lot of the grain underneath it. If I were to paint with the cheapy ones, there will be a lot more pulling. And again, here you can see it. I'm struggling with this one because this is a very thirsty paper. It just like grabs onto the water. It's just not good. I mean, this is good high quality paint, bad quality paint on a great paper. So I mean, it just doesn't work. Not for me anyway. Okay, so we're gonna do the pans, and the closest thing I have to this is my Russian watercolors. So after cleaning up the brush, again, too much filler. I have to put more water to pick up more pigment in order to build it up. And what it does is, instead of building it up, it just builds like this weird color that is not true to what is on the pan. Now, here's my, if I'm correct, if it's Nevskaya Palitra. It's Russian watercolors for White Night set. And here's my red. I mean, look at that. This is the best red ever. It's like a Christian Louboutin red. And this is, of course, in a different grained, cold pressed, rough grain paper. And again, I'm gonna wash it really well, and I'm gonna put it on the, and I'm gonna use a cheaper palette so you can see what the difference is. It's not buildable. It's very transparent, and you're not gonna get those vivid reds. I mean, I'm gonna tap that so you could see. This is a really vivid red. This is like a Christian Louboutin soul red, and this is nowhere near the red that I'm seeing here on the pan set. So again, don't buy cheap stuff. If you create a masterpiece with these, it's not gonna last. You're not gonna have the vibrancy of color. Low price paper will be okay. It's okay to use. It might not be archival quality. This is archival quality, I believe. This is, believe it or not, archival quality. And it will withstand the test of time. Also, if you look at the thickness of the paper, this is the Canson and this is the Arches. I mean, there's a huge difference in thickness. This is very bendy. It's 140 pounds. This is 300, and it's like a business card. You could basically make business cards out of these. This is how thick and juicy and hard it is. But it also, you know, if you decided that you wanted to paint on it, look, the quality is just really beautiful. It's still wet. So, okay, we're gonna try the next one, which is my most expensive palette. And this is my Schminka. These are half pans. Okay, so what I like about this one is that if you run out of a color, you turn around, there's a code, and then you order more. I also use Kremer, and Kremer is another German, I believe it's German. They're fantastic. Those colors are fantastic, but you do have to mix them yourself. So that requires another skill set, and I won't go into that right now, but again, to do a test, and I'm gonna use the red. So now I'm gonna take this one, and whenever you use this type of pill looking thing, you really need to use lots of water and create kind of like a little puddle. There, just picked up enough. And that here, I'm surprised at these. These are actually good quality. They're not that bad. I would say these are medium quality. This reminds me, there's a couple of companies that make this specific kind. I don't have to work too hard to build it up. I like it. I would use it. I don't know that I would make a masterpiece with this, but if I'm feeling like I may mess up something and I'm just like experimenting, this is something I probably would use. Unfortunately, I'm beyond that point of experimenting, because I feel like I've used almost all paints. So here's that pill again, and I'm going to make sure that it's nice and wet, and make a little puddle inside of the little hole. And I actually use these for calligraphy. They're buildable. So as you can see, this is how paint should lay. I feel that this is how paint should lay. This is what happens whenever you build a few layers. And let me see if I can. There you go. This is what happens when you build a few layers. This is with one layer. And now let's try a different kind of paper real quick. Okay, so this is my Koh-I-Noor set, and I did have to go a few times. The paper is very rough and thirsty, so. And I'm gonna use my really expensive Schminke. This set is actually close to, if we had all the paints that came with the Schminke, it would actually be closer to $300 to $400. But I think I paid $300. Okay, so that's my red here. It's just slightly different. This is the most, like I said, this is the most expensive paper I use. When you're looking to buy art supplies, I know part of the problem of buying really expensive art supplies is being afraid of messing it up. If you're afraid of messing something up, then you're not ready to draw. If you're afraid of making a mistake, you might not be ready to use something like this. So you might consider using a different medium, or buying at the lower spectrum, not the cheapest spectrum, but the lowest spectrum of money. So it would be something like this would be perfect for a beginner. A notebook like this would be perfect for a beginner. But if you have a client and you're charging actual money for your artwork, this is the paper you want. And now this paper, like I said, this is rough grain cold press, and you can buy this same type of paper in hot press and medium cold grain. And this is Arches paper, whereas this is Canson. This is still French paper. It is cold press. It is I would say this is fine grain for being cold press, but it's good paper. It's all right. I would use it for a project. I don't know that I would use it for a client unless the client has specifically asked for this type of paper. If you're gonna make a mistake, this is the perfect paper to make a mistake in. If you feel like you're just gonna mess it up, this is where you should be practicing. Also, one thing that you want to do whenever you get your watercolor kit is you want to make your own little color chart to see how they interact with the paper that you're planning on using. Whenever you're purchasing any paint pack, whenever you're purchasing any type of color, you have to look at this as an investment in your career. Just like you would pay for a class, or you would pay to have someone teach you, or you would buy a book. This is just as important. It's an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your career. So just like books are important in order to have knowledge in your head, having the best product is not going to make you the best artist, but it's going to make you look pretty darn good. And I think that you should consider what this investment means versus having crappy watercolors and having a faded looking piece.